Yo, what it do, how it go? It's the internet's favorite fake uncle coming at you live and direct with some more tomfoolery. Let me just say this right off top, man. This will probably be the last time that I take requests from the reply section. This will probably because I discovered this new thing today. Well, I won't say discovered. I have explored, or not even explored, but have been made aware. So let me tell you a real quick, funny story about that real quick. Right? Not all that funny, but I went to school. You know how when you go to school in the hood, don't matter if it's public, if it's private, whatever, you always have, those one or two teachers, those white teachers that are like extra woke. You know what I mean? You get one of them freedom riders teachers, one of them, I don't remember what her name was, but you know what I mean? And I remember we was learning about Christopher Columbus. And she will always correct us because, in the book, it would say, Christopher Columbus discovered America in 1492. And she was like, no. And she was like, no, Christopher Columbus didn't discover America. He explored it because there were already people in America. So if there were already people here, there's no way that he could have discovered it, class. And so ever since then, I forget that teacher's name. I hate that I forget her name, right? But that has always stuck with me to this day, to the point that I actively avoid using the word discovered for anything that was already in existence, right? Just somebody became aware of it, or somebody, made other people aware of it, or whatever the case may be. So I say that to say I did not discover this because it already existed. But there is this trend on the socials, this quarter zip trend, right? And as with anything, so let me tell y'all what it is for those of y'all who might not know what it is. Well, let me tell you what it started out as first. What it started out was, relatively innocuous, just a bunch of, black kids dressing up, business casual or whatever. And listen, as the internet's favorite fake uncle, I'm never going to take issue. I did a whole video the other day that basically boiled down to wash your ass and dress your age, right? So I'm never going to really have a problem with, young folks taking pride in their appearance, you know what I mean? Taking pride in whatever and whatnot, you dig what I'm saying? But as with anything, especially when it pertains to when black folks do it, it has devolved into something nasty, into something that is something that just falls right in line with us taking phrases and just using it as an excuse for internalized racism, for internalized anti-blackness is what it has become, right? And this is nothing new. You feel me? It's the same thing as, 20 years ago when you had small towns in Virginia, writing laws against, sagging pants. You know what I mean? A few years ago when Philly had made that law about kids wearing shiesties, which I'm not gonna say they was completely wrong about that, but there is there's subtext to that, right? That I'm not gonna get into because it's neither here nor there. So here's the thing that I wanted to get off about the whole quarter zip thing. And I already know what thumbnail I'm going to use for this because I knew it as soon as I was made abreast of this thing. Let me explain the background of the thumbnail, right? So a few days ago, So I have not been in the gym for over a year now, right? And it's because of the combination of me not having the time, and when I do have the time, I don't have the energy. I ain't even gonna hold you. So what I've been doing is I have been within like the past, literally like the last, month or so, I've been looking into things that well, I mean, I already got some things that I would do in the house anyway, but I wanted to see, what some other like compound movements, compound workouts and whatever I can do with stuff I have on hand, like dumbbells, kettlebells, all that kind of stuff. And so inevitably what winds up happening is when you start looking at fitness stuff, you know what I mean? Inevitably what winds up happening is that the algorithm puts you, because let's just keep it a buck, 9 out of 10 fitness tubers are really just body tubers, you know what I mean? And even if they are fitness tubers, you're not going to listen to the reason why people watch their videos, the reason why they got, a million, the reason why Jeff Nippert and, Mike Israetel and all of these other ones, have millions and millions, Will Tennyson have millions and millions of views on their video, is because of their physique. You know what I mean? Athlete X, y'all would not watch them, or at least young boys would not watch them if they didn't look like they were chiseled from granite. You dig what I'm saying? If they were not taking photos, you feel me, immediately after getting through with a workout so that they're at peak pump. You know what I mean? They ain't taking them thumbnail photos, you feel me, after they, gone through the whole day and ate a whole pizza or something on their cheat day or something. They ain't doing that. You dig what I'm saying? Because listen, I'll tell you from my own experience, you'll look like two completely different niggas. You feel me? First thing in the morning, the difference between first thing in the morning after you've taken a dump, or, the first 5 minutes after, you finish your workout, and, right before you go to bed, you then ate everything, drank everything, and you got a bunch of fluids in you and whatever. Those is three completely different photos you're going to be taking. You dig what I'm saying? And the one at night is the least flattering. I'll put it like that. But anyway, I digress, because we about 8 minutes in and I'm just rambling, as I am wont to do. So I say that to say inevitably what winds up happening is because the algorithm knows that the majority of people that are looking at workout videos are looking at them for aesthetic purposes. They want to look a certain way. They want a particular physique. So then the algorithm says, oh, so you want to look a certain way? Well, let me introduce you to some other stuff that might help you get there, or some other things that you might be interested in, which gets you into, a lot of manosphere adjacent stuff, a lot of red pill adjacent stuff, whatever the case may be, because some of these, body tubers so happen to be red pillars themselves, right? And so I say that to say, in the process, what this rabbit hole led me to, without me even clicking it, because I don't even click, if it don't got nothing to do with working out, right? Because I'm gonna tell you, at my big age, I'm not working out for aesthetic purposes anymore. I'm working out so that when I get to be 50, 60, 70, 80 years old, the stuff that I did in my 30s, you feel me, will have me so I'm not bent over as an old man. You dig what I'm saying? That's what I'm doing it for. So I don't even click on that stuff. But I see these videos with this phrase called Looksmaxing in the title. I tried a year of Looksmaxing. Looksmaxing for a brown guy. Black guy does Looksmaxing. You dig what I'm saying? And based off of, because I'm just looking at it, I'm like, all right, let me see what this is about, right? Because are you just talking about, being, when I was growing up, what they call metrosexual? Is this what this is? And I click on the video, and based off of the first minute or two, that I watch, all it is getting a haircut and taking care of your skin. Like just basic grown-up stuff. And so I put a post on the main channel saying I discovered what I found out what Looksmaxing is today, and it's literally just washing your ass and getting a haircut. What's wrong with y'all? Like, that's just common sense behavior. No wonder you're not getting no dates, because you smell like ish and you look even worse. So of course, you know what I mean? But then folk in the comments told me, that's part of it, but there's more to this there's more to Looksmaxing than, keeping proper hygiene, right? And they were telling me about how, it's a lot of eugenics science to Looksmaxing. There's a lot of, y'all know what I'm talking about. Determining niggas' intelligence based on their skull size and whatever. That like niggas getting a jaw broken and then rebuilt to look like, handsome Squidward, or to look like, the Giga Chad meme. You dig what I'm saying? And so what I wind up learning is that basically all this is another excuse to promote Eurocentric and even Aryan aesthetic beauty standards, you feel me, on to folk. You dig what I'm saying? It's just another way, it's just another roundabout means toward white supremacy, another roundabout means to anti-blackness, anti-brownness, which now brings me back around to the rap fatigue argument. Oh my God, yes, I did find another way to turn this into that, because I've been and I continue to think about this thing. Because here's the thing that really pisses me off, that really irks me. Everything irks me about it, if y'all haven't been able to tell from my other videos. But here's something that really aggravates me about the whole rap fatigue thing, right? Is that there are good faith conversations to be had concerning some of the points that people who describe what they feel as rap fatigue, there are good faith arguments, good faith conversations to be had there about, the artist's responsibility to their audience when presenting a certain image that is not exactly flattering of black people. There is a good faith argument to be made about the impact that those images have on the impressionable mind. You feel what I'm saying? On kids and on teenagers. There is a discussion to be had about that. There's also a discussion to be had about the lack of I can't think of the word right now, but the lack of, I don't want to say lack of creativity, but the fact that everybody is trying to sound like Lil Durk. Everybody's trying to sound like Lil Baby. You feel me? And so there is a conversation to be had about when artists find a formula and say, oh, this works, and then don't evolve past that, and how there is an oversaturation of that in mainstream music media. But here's the thing that pisses me off with it, is that, again, I literally sat up there. What y'all don't know is that I didn't just listen to I'm the Problem, talking about Morgan Wallen's album. I listened to 2 other albums that man has made. And it's the same 3 songs over and over again. Is I hate my ex, I miss my ex, and thank God I'm a country boy. Woo! That's the only 3 songs he got in his bag. So my issue and on top of that, country. See, I know game about country, and that's why it pisses me off, is that country has its own problems going back at least the last 25 years with its own form of white knight style misogyny, its own style of, stay in the kitchen style misogyny. You feel me? This is why Reba McEntire had problems, why Shania Twain had problems, why Dixie Chicks wound up getting blacklisted. is because of the ingrained misogyny in country music, in modern country music, I should say, along with the racism, along with the jingoism, along with the xenophobia. Y'all know, we'll put a boot in your ass. That's the American way. You know what I mean? Why don't you make a video about that shit? You know what I mean? I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I'll proudly stand up. I hate that shit. At my old apartment, the shop right around my way, you feel me, was in a MAGA adjacent area. So every time I went to the shop right, that's what you would hear every single time. I'm proud to be an American. But anyway, so that's the thing that pisses me off, is that it's always hip hop that gets painted with this broad brush. And the other thing that I want to get into with that is that we make it seem like these things are such a plight, such an epidemic in the black community. Oh, female promiscuity. Oh, black men, black men's criminality, blah, 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 blah. Listen, y'all don't know the number of white people that I have met in my life where any combination of baby mama and baby daddy drama, you feel me, running credit card scams, you feel me, got all kinds of disorderly persons, all kinds of, what we would call poor white trash. You know what I mean? Or what y'all would call poor white trash, rather, because I don't do all of that. But what popular culture will understand as poor white trash. You dig what I'm saying? If you think white people don't have babies out of wedlock and wind up being on and deserve to be on the Maury Povich show, you know what I mean? So my point is that why is it such a problem when for black people to have single parenthood and all these different kinds of things or whatever and whatnot, you know what I mean? When you don't talk about the white folks that's in the exact same predicament, exact same plight. If you want to get into how mass incarceration has created an environment, how mass incarceration has led to many black households where the mother and the father are split up, you feel me, due to structural or institutional things. If you want to talk about how you got a bunch of niggas out here who legally cannot live with their children because of something they did 5-10 years ago, because they got a felony on them, and so they can't live in certain forms of public housing. If you want to talk about that, or if you want to talk about how they can't get work, you know what I mean? Or you want to talk about how they're disqualified from, insurance because of their criminal record. You feel what I'm saying? So they send the kids to go live with the mama. You feel me? Because at least the mom got insurance through her job. Then all right, we can have a conversation. But for you to sit up there and to just make it into a matter of what's the word I'm looking for? Of just bad black people's collective moral compass, it's just so shot. For you to sit up there and to act like, you're doing this, you're saying this, you're making this video because you are so concerned for the state of black people in America. You are so concerned for that's disingenuous to me. It's also intellectually insulting. It's reductive. What it says to me again is that you don't care about, you don't really care about, the plight of black people in America. You don't. You feel me? You just got some internalized anti-blackness that you're trying to intellectualize badly. It's thinly veiled anti-blackness in the form of respectability politics. You know what I mean? That's all that is. You dig what I'm saying? Because you don't care. Because if you did, again, you would bring up all of these other contributing factors aside from the fact that, rap music bad. You feel me? Aside from the fact that, my coochie pink, my booty hole brown. We got a bunch of black folks got a bunch of much bigger issues than whatever, the coochie rapper du jour of the moment is talking about. You dig what I'm saying? Which now brings me back to the quarter zip thing, because they're all the same thing. Every cup, and this is why I said I'm gonna stop taking requests from y'all, because we just keep finding new ways to express respectability and thereby anti-blackness. You know what I mean? That's all that it is. And the thing that pisses me off, and this is where I'm going to wrap up on, right? The thing that really pisses, because what winds up happening is, again, the thing that really irks me with the quarter zip trend, along with the rap fatigue thing, the thing that pisses me off is when coon asses come in and ruin something that, in the case of the quarter zip trend, was innocuous, was innocent, was kind of cute, to keep it above. You feel me? And then the coon asses come in and they'll ruin it with their own internalized issues because they refuse to go seek therapy. You know what I mean? Same thing with the rap fatigue thing. There are good faith conversations that we can have about the state of mainstream hip hop, but the coon asses come in and then they make it into a "this is the problem with black culture" thing. You know what I mean? Because the thing, and I'm gonna tell y'all like this, the main problem with coons, you feel me? The main problem with coons is not even their anti-blackness. You feel me? I know that sounds crazy right now, but let me explain to you. The main problem with coons is not their anti-blackness. The main problem with coons is their arrogance, is their ego, is that they think they got it all figured out. The problem with coon, listen, I'm gonna tell you like this. The main problem with coons is the same problem with hoteps. It's the same problem with tankies. It's the same problem with turfs. It's the same problem with any of those, fake smart people who try to take complex issues. You feel me? Issues that are full of nuance and full of complexities and full of complications, full of contradictions even, and then reduce them to, oh, well, it's just this. Oh, well, black people you just need to put on a suit and then everything will be all right. You know what I mean? Oh, the reason why feminism ain't getting nowhere is because you got too many men pretending like they want to be women. You know what I mean? Oh, well, the problem with, black people's state in America is because, we not doing enough chakras and, we not burning enough sage and, looking into crystals and whatever and whatnot. We're the real Hebrews. We're the real Jews. You know what I mean? Is because some nigga in a purple robe told me that we're the real Jews. You dig what I'm saying? All of that comes from arrogance. All of that comes from an inability to say, maybe I don't got it. Maybe I don't got the answer. Maybe I'm wrong. It's a very unscientific way of understanding the world. Because I think the thing that people get messed up about science is that you talk to, listen, I know some chemists, or a chemist rather. I know a chemist in real life. I know some people who went to school for because they were going to try to be a pharmacist. And what you learn talking to folk, in those fields, is you realize that one thing about a scientific mind is that you're constantly learning. You're constantly building off of the information that you already have. sometimes that new information conflicts with what you thought you knew. And so now it's on you to rectify what you thought you knew with what you have learned, right? So what it is that, because in a lot of ways, pseudo-intellectualism is really just anti-intellectualism with more steps. Because what makes a person intelligent, intelligence is not about how much you know. Intelligence is about how much you're willing to learn. You understand what I'm saying? And ultimately, that winds up being the problem. Oh, this thing working. That winds up being the main problem with coons. Is that really all a coon is a black conservative that can't be told they're wrong. And figured out and have just figured that they got it all together. You know, it's my job to come and to educate, you know, the huddled and unwashed masses with my unmatched levels of intellect and my unmatched levels of understanding. That's the main problem. And so this is how you get all of this anti-black BS, is because people have concluded in their minds that the way forward for black people is to imitate whiteness as closely and as much as possible. And anything that diverts from that is part of the problem. But again, because you can't tell them that, they just dig their heels in deeper and they go deeper down the rabbit hole until you get, you know, quarter zip and rat fatigue and all this other garbage and BS. So yeah, there you had that. I spent 26 minutes yapping just to tell y'all what y'all probably already know. So yeah, there you have it. Deuces.